All right, so I'm Elka Popova, Bulgarian name, Bulgarian accent. I'm with Frost & Sullivan, and Frost & Sullivan is a market research and consulting company. And in our practice, we cover a lot of different industries. One of those is enterprise communications. I personally cover enterprise communications, but more specifically, communications delivered in the cloud. So we heard a lot of interesting presentations from the RingCentral team, and we heard about how the world is evolving and the workforce has new and evolving requirements. And we also heard about their amazing cloud communication solutions. I'm going to try and bring these themes together in my presentation and talk to you about how to use cloud communications to drive digital transformation within your companies and, more broadly speaking, business transformation. First, I'm going to talk a little bit about why digital transformation is a strong necessity today and why we're here talking about it. Then I will talk a little bit about the challenges and the risks that are emerging from this rapid technology evolution and from the transformational processes that are taking place in our companies. I will spend a little bit of time talking about how you can future-proof your unified communications investments, and I'll share some best practices. I'll wrap up the discussion today with some recommendations about how to go about selecting a cloud solution provider that will assist you on the digital transformation journey. We all come from different industries. Research and consulting. RingCentral is a communications vendor. You come from manufacturing, automotive, healthcare, financial services, and other kinds of industries. But all of us are witnessing this profound transformation that's taking place today. And transformation is happening on many different levels. Transformation is impacting how we deliver value to customers. It's impacting the features and functionality of our products and solutions. It's impacting our business models, how we engage with customers. It's impacting also the way we operate internally. The one common element in the transformation that's happening within all of our industries is the use of digital technologies, the use of advanced communications and collaboration solutions to deliver greater customer value. We're seeing industries becoming smarter and much more connected. And that is providing some of the market participants with a stronger competitive advantage, but it's also creating competitive pressures for all of us. We surveyed a group of about 2,000 decision makers, IT decision makers around the world, about the top factors driving their IT investments today and the factors that will drive investments in the next couple of years. As you can see, at the top of the list are the usual top business priorities: reduce costs, boost creativity and innovation within the company, and improve productivity. But we're seeing also a shift in what is driving IT investments today and what will be driving investments in a few years from now. And in my opinion, what we're seeing is a greater focus on more strategic objectives. Businesses are looking to gain a competitive advantage through IT investments. IT is no longer just a cost center, just an enabler of very specific tasks or processes within the organization. It's a much more holistic enabler of business transformation and competitive positioning. If we look at some of the most disruptive companies today, you already heard Dave talk about Uber. I believe Airbnb was on one of his slides, and there are other disruptive market participants on this slide here. what you will notice is that they have leveraged advanced technologies, the digital world, to pretty much turn upside down the value proposition within their industries. They have shifted from bricks to clicks. If you look at Uber and the industry they compete in, the most amazing thing is that they do not own a car fleet. They're just a brokerage service. The same thing with Airbnb. They do not own hospitality real estate. They do not own properties. They're, again, just a brokerage service. The other companies on this slide have done similar things. They have leveraged digital, they have leveraged the cloud to become completely new, to deliver a completely new type of value within their industries. All of us go to work every day, and all of us need to communicate and collaborate with our peers within the organization, with customers, partners, and others within our own supply chain. In the past, we used to rely on our telephone service. Many of us still very much rely on the telephone service. But at least my generation, we became addicted to email. The next generation of users coming into our companies have different requirements. They're looking for more visual, more social tools. They're bringing in their experiences as consumers and expect the same thing, the same type of capabilities to be provided to them in the workplace. They expect audio, web, and video conferencing. They expect team collaboration solutions such as Slack, Glip, etc., to be available within their company. They expect social media, social networking to be used both for internal messaging, internal collaboration within the organization, and to also interact with customers and partners. So with this, we're finding ourselves a little bit overwhelmed with this growing arsenal of communications and collaboration tools. So this is where the concept of unified communications comes in. And we see all of these tools converging together into these more intuitive, user-friendly, people-centric interfaces, something similar to, well, very much like what RingCentral was showing earlier. Within your email interface or within another client, you can actually access most of the different communications and collaboration tools that you need to complete your daily tasks. But this transformation is not without challenges and not without certain hurdles along the way. So once again, we asked our sample of about 2,000 decision makers about their top IT challenges. Once again, very few surprises at the top. IT is focusing on eliminating security threats, keeping the network up and running, and aligning their IT investments with the broader business goals, making sure that IT is producing the business outcomes that they set to themselves in the beginning. But at the same time, IT is really bogged down by the need to manage multiple different solutions. All these tools and technologies that we talked about, yes, they're enablers, but they're also creating additional costs and taking away from IT's ability to focus on their strategic projects. Naturally, with rapid technology evolution, IT is struggling with skill shortages. The more technologies evolve, the more the need for training and retraining of existing staff or the need to hire more people. Similarly, there is the need to integrate all of these advanced tools with the legacy systems that are still present in most of our companies. Shadow IT and other challenges created by the consumerization of IT are also creating risks for the organization and headache for IT staff. So what is the solution? Well, as we talked earlier and I mentioned during the course of my presentation, the workforce is evolving. The organizations that we work for are changing. They're becoming more virtual. Users are more geographically distributed. Many of us work remotely. More and more of us are mobile and require access to our business communications tools while on the go. Also, the younger people coming into the organization demand more personalized and more custom-tailored solutions that they have seen in their, that they're using as consumers. In their efforts to satisfy these needs, IT is deploying more and more tools, which is increasing the complexity of the communications infrastructure. So this creates the need for greater flexibility. This compels businesses to look for ways to reduce the need for managing communications and other IT solutions on a daily basis and outsource these tasks to an expert third party. Cloud solutions and cloud technologies are providing this kind of flexibility. They allow businesses to more quickly access advanced tools, to more quickly deploy them. They also help access a larger pool of technology expertise. They also help more quickly and cost-effectively adjust capacity, more quickly turn off and on different features and functionality. As voice over IP technologies mature, as cloud technologies mature, and cloud business models become, again, more mature and more reliable, I believe that all these different factors are coming together to create the perfect environment for cloud adoption. And we have some proof points. Once again, from our recent survey, we found out that the majority of the businesses we surveyed are moving many of their IT workloads to the cloud. All of the blue bars are showing some degree of migration to the cloud. As you can see, at least a third, maybe even 40% of the users have already moved a large portion of their voice and unified communication solutions to the cloud today. That is the dark blue bar. The other shades of blue are showing how many of the respondents are going to move their solutions to the cloud within the next year and the next 3 years. Also important, the respondents whose businesses have already deployed cloud communications or cloud solutions in general are reporting high levels of satisfaction with their solutions. There are some variations here, but as you can tell, satisfaction is more or less similar across business sizes and across geographies. I'm going to pause here for a moment and ask you for a very quickly show of hands. How many of you have already deployed some of your communications in the cloud? Okay, so I may be preaching to the choir here. That was at least 50% of the people in the audience. Well, how many of you are planning to move some of your communications to the cloud in the next 3 years? Okay, that's more or less one person? Okay. All right, well, so I'm hoping that some of the data and the insights that we're sharing today are going to convince more of you to start moving to the cloud, because we strongly believe that there is tremendous value in using cloud solutions for greater business agility. Now, before you begin this process of migration to the cloud or digital transformation in general, it's very important to take a good look at your organization. I believe the first step is to look at the workforce. and assess their specific needs and requirements. User demographics, geographic distribution, and job functions can be critical in deciding what new communications and collaboration solutions to deploy and whether to move them to the cloud. It's also very important to look at your infrastructure and see if your existing PBXs and other solutions are no longer meeting the requirements of your user force. It's extremely important to decide to assess your vision for IT in the future. Many of you are probably IT, but the organization as a whole needs to really decide on the vision for IT and whether IT should be focusing on more strategic projects instead of managing day-to-day solutions. And then it's important to prioritize the objectives that you're setting to your organization as you transform the business. Are you looking to enable greater mobility? Are you looking to enable greater collaboration within the organization? What is your tolerance for network availability, for potential security threats? As you complete this assessment of the organization and your business goals and objectives, I recommend that you go through a more formal RFP process and request your provider, a potential cloud solution provider, to give you a free trial and provide customer references. It is important to apply a very broad set of criteria when assessing a potential partnership. In my experience, most of the new solution evaluations start with the comparison of the feature sets. And that's only natural, because this is what tells you whether this specific solution or provider can meet the needs of your user workforce. But it's also important to see if the solutions that you're evaluating are easy to use and easy to manage, because this will determine not only the cost or the cost reduction for IT, but this will help you assess in advance whether your users will adopt the solutions and use them on a regular basis for the benefits that you anticipate: improved productivity, greater efficiency, and so on. You also need to look at other factors such as the networking requirements, whether you need to upgrade the network, what endpoints you can use, whether the service provider is offering you a selection of endpoints that will appeal to your users, that will be relevant to their job functions. Security and regulatory compliance are obviously top concerns when we talk to any of the decision makers. Furthermore, customization and integration with existing solutions is critical because it determines the user experience. Analytics and reporting tools can help you not only better understand how the specific communications and collaboration technologies are used within the organization, but also map the impact of these IT investments to broader business performance indicators, and assess whether these investments are delivering the return on investment that you anticipated. I cannot emphasize enough how important it is to take this more holistic approach to the process of digital transformation and move to the cloud. As you look to enable a much more connected work environment, it's important to focus on the business outcomes, on what you're really looking to accomplish in the long term. It's very important to make sure that the new investments in unified communications solutions are enabling greater mobility for your users, also enabling a more collaborative environment, that they're providing a user experience that drives adoption within the company, that these new technologies are enabling your company to better interact with your customers and to deliver greater value to the customer so you can be competitive, more competitive in your own industries, that they're making you more agile and responsive, and that you're also gaining contextual intelligence to accurately assess the impact of your IT investments on your overall business performance. I will end my presentation with just a few words on RingCentral, our generous host today. At the end of every research project, we evaluate market participants on a number of benchmarking criteria. We look at their product portfolio, at the features and functionality of their solutions. We look at their ability to provide high levels of security and regulatory compliance, their ability to be flexible and integrate with customers' existing solutions and applications, the reliability of their services, usually based on whether they have geo-redundant data center infrastructure and other capabilities in place to ensure this service reliability. We also look at service providers' ability to deliver services on a global basis. For several years in a row, RingCentral has been the recipient of Frost & Sullivan Awards. This year, we were very happy to present them with the Company of the Year Award in Hosted IP Telephony and UCaaS once again for their feature-rich portfolio and for their outstanding services delivery.